Hey creepers, welcome to the Mrs. Night Terror channel. Join me as I tell you spooky, shocking, and scary bedtime tales. Each story I tell is a fictional narrative, so don't worry too much about it coming true. If you think you can handle it, listen closely and imagine yourself being part of each and every story I tell. I want to say thank you to each and every creeper out there. This is the next episode of my scary story series, and surely not the last. If you enjoy what you hear, be sure to give me a like and a follow, and leave me a comment below to let me know what you enjoyed the most. Today, I have a truly terrifying story for you that will send shivers up your spine. So grab a blanket, turn off the lights, and let's get started with this not-so-true crime nightmare. Tonight's story is called The Tale of the Exploding Man. Lance Thompson was a terror of Maple Street. Every morning, like clockwork, he would march onto his porch, screaming at his neighbors for what appeared to be nothing. Kids would be too loud, dogs barking, even the mailman wasn't safe from his angry outbursts. Many times, just the sight of another person would set him off. Most of the neighborhood had learned to ignore him, but the fear he instilled lingered. Lance's anger seemed to be growing day by day. His threats escalated from shouting and insults to more violent actions. One summer evening, as the sun set, he hurled a flaming bottle onto the Jeffersons' yard. The blaze spread quickly, but the neighbors managed to put it out before it caused serious damage. Lance, however, wasn't satisfied. He continued his reign of terror, throwing bottles and accusing everyone of spying on him. The breaking point came one fateful night. The Johnsons' little girl Emma was playing in her backyard, tossing around her favorite ball and singing her favorite nursery rhymes. All was good when one of Lance's flaming bottles came hurling over the fence. Emma began to scream as she saw the bottle hurtling towards her. It struck the ground and shattered. Flames spread throughout the dry grass. Emma's dress caught fire, and her screams pierced the night. Her parents rushed to her aid, dousing the flames and calling for help. The sight of the girl's charred dress and the smell of burnt fabric would haunt them forever, and they agreed that this madness needed to stop. When the police arrived, each witness came forward, all pointing the finger at Lance. They explained the situation, plus each one that came before this one. Lance was arrested the same night. As the police dragged him away, the neighbors gathered, a mix of relief and anger etched in their faces. But as they looked at Lance, they noticed something strange. Deep, festering wounds on his ankles and wrists. The police decided to take him to the hospital for evaluation instead of directly to jail, as the wounds appeared to be self-inflicted and could possibly indicate that Lance needed to see a mental health professional. At the hospital, things took a darker turn. Lance had become increasingly erratic, accusing the nurses of causing the wounds. His paranoia reached new heights, and the medical staff struggled to calm him down. They decided to sedate him, hoping to get him under control long enough to treat his injuries. As the nurse inserted the needle into Lance's arm, he let out a blood-curdling scream. His body convulsed violently, and then, in a horrifying instant, he exploded into a million pieces. The room was filled with a blinding light, and when it faded, nothing remained of Lance Thompson but the lingering sense of dread, and a pile of blood and guts. The nurses and doctors who witnessed the event were left in shock, unable to explain what had happened. Pathologists studied Lance's remains, looking for a clue that would help them solve the cause of his unnatural demise. But every test showed no signs of anything wrong, nothing unusual, leaving the town puzzled as to why their patient had combusted the way he did. The wounds on his body had never seemed natural. And now it was clear something far weirder was at play. Rumors spread quickly through the hospital and then through the town about the man who had exploded. The police went to the home of Lance, looking for clues or evidence to help them solve this mystery. No one knew how to classify the case of the exploding man. Was it a freak accident? Had a crime even taken place? Or was it possibly self-inflicted? As the police scoured for hints, they noticed multiple glass bottles filled with some type of liquid in Lance's house. They assumed it was fuel, which was most likely the substance used in the bottle he threw at Emma. They gathered the bottles and the liquid they contained and left the house. Nothing else looked out of the ordinary, and since he lived alone, there was no family members to talk to. Plus, they had already spoken to all the neighbors. The forensics team tested the liquid, but unfortunately they could not confirm the identity of it. Although it looked like gasoline and smelled like lime juice, neither were found in the bottle. It was a completely foreign fuel that nobody could identify. One expert decided to go a step further and test the fuel for efficiency. How well could it burn? How long would it stay lit? And how much heat did it need to combust? As the expert experimented with the foreign liquid, he concluded that it was extremely easy to catch fire, needing only 104 degrees and rapid movement to burn. And the burn was not smooth. It was a quick burn that popped and exploded. He concluded that Lance must have injected the fuel into his body, which made him erratic. It also was the reason that he combusted as he thrashed in the hospital bed. With his regular body temperature rising from exhaustion and anger, he set the perfect storm for the liquid to reach its flaming point. The police closed the case, stating it was an accidental death, adding him to a lengthy list of Darwin Award winners. Eventually, they demolished his home, for it had too much of the foreign liquid inside. It was far too dangerous of a structure now. Maple Street returned to its normalcy, but the scars of Lance Thompson's reign of terror remained. Emma's burn scars kept the memory of the bizarre encounter alive, far after the house was torn down. The neighbors who had once ignored his outbursts now whispered about the strange, unexplainable events surrounding his death. Some believed he had been cursed. Others thought he had been abducted. But one thing was for certain. They were glad the man couldn't cause any more havoc on their neighborhood. And as we draw the curtains on this chilling tale, our hearts still racing and our minds haunted by the echoes of the unknown, remember, the darkness that we've explored is but a glimpse into the abyss that dwells within us all. In the realm of the mysterious, we find both terror and fascination in these shadows. We confront the depths of human nature and the uncharted territories of the universe. Thank you to each and every creeper out there who takes the time out of their day to listen to my horrifying stories. Remember to follow me on TikTok, Instagram, and X, and also check out my Patreon for much darker tales. And fear not, as you step back into the realm of the familiar, let the shivers down your spine remind you that life's greatest mysteries are the ones that keep us awake at night, asking us to peer into the abyss and challenge the boundaries of our understanding. Until next time, dear listeners, may your dreams be undisturbed, and may you find solace in the light of day. Good night and sweet dreams, if you dare.